Hello, Ing. Can you hear me? Hmm. Hi, Cindy, Pete, John. Hello. Pete, I
Oh,
don't know.
muted.
There
Sorry.
he is.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. I
Okay. Hi.
was getting ready to say, I don't know where Ing's at.
Well, I just can't be heard.
Yeah, you were muted.
I was muted. That doesn't happen often.
Yeah,
You
Peter
should
says,
have
oh
counted your
no.
blessings. Too late now,
He
Chrissy.
says, oh no, Ing's quiet.
Won't last long.
Yeah, it won't last long.
How have you been this week? You had a tough week, eh?
Hanging in there,
Yeah, good.
hanging in
That's how I know you.
there. This too shall pass.
Mm, it does, yes.
Yes, eventually.
It shall.
Yeah, so
Oh, Canada. Oh, Canada.
yeah,
This
Claire will not
case.
be joining us this evening.
Yeah, I heard. Sorry to
Yeah,
hear.
I'm gonna miss her, but hopefully she'll watch the replay.
Mm-hmm.
We love you, Claire.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Okay. Freeside. Niall, how you doing?
Hi, everybody in chat.
Yeah.
Freeside
So,
is here. Pete is here.
mm-hmm.
Maybe.
mm,
Jesus. I won't say.
quite a few
John is
to
here.
start with.
Cindy is here, of course. She was first.
Cindy was first. Gareth, there's Gareth.
Gareth.
Gareth is here. Okay, Gareth's here. We can start now. No, I'm just
Yes.
kidding.
Well, then we're behind.
The world is all right now.
That's
Gareth
right.
is here.
Amen. Amen.
And Mark. Hey, Mark.
Mark, how are you?
Okay, guys. Like any other time, bear with me when it comes to the chat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I
Yeah.
miss some things trying to bounce back and forth between screens and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But hopefully, Ing will glance at the chat every now and then, and if somebody has a question, he can bring it to
Yes.
my attention.
I'll keep an eye on it.
Yes. Let me look real quick. Nothing. Okay. Now, before I even go into this story, I'm going to show this. This video contains content that some may find disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised. The um, details and stuff in this case can be triggering, so if you're easily triggered, you may not want to be here,
Yes.
or at least you are warned. Let's put it that way. We're
Yeah, true
going
crime
to
is
we're going
vicious.
to Ing's neck of the woods.
Yes. Well, it's Ontario,
Well,
wherever
it's
that is,
still
right? I
Canada.
mean, well, so they say.
Canada is your
No,
neck of the woods.
I know, and you know what? I can exactly what happened. I can see this all happening. I'm
Mm,
not so. I wasn't surprised, just
no,
shocked.
mm,
Yes.
I was. I had a horrible time making notes, and even my husband came in here and he's like, what's all this huffing you're doing in here?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm doing this case," and I was telling him about it, and he was pissed. He was like, "Oh, I would do this," and blah blah blah. And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I know. We all would." And
My
speaking of
wife
him,
stopped coming in when I
yeah.
talk true
Well,
crime.
speaking of him, he should be coming in here any minute now to tell me good night because I just seen the lights go off
Oh,
out there. So
yes.
I might get
I love your
interrupted for a
husband.
second, but that's okay.
Mhm.
We allow him to interrupt me.
Amen.
He's allowed to. Nobody
He's
else
the
can.
only one who can jump ahead, right?
That's right. Yep. So, Tori Stafford, beautiful little girl. She had big blue eyes, blonde hair, 8 years old. She was on her way home from school in Woodstock, Ontario, Canada. She lived with her mother, Tara, which is her right here, and her brother, Darren. Her parents were separated. The night before, They had just moved into this new home. The night before, she decorated her new room with Disney princesses, Bratz dolls, and High School Musical posters. That night, she was due to spend the evening with her father, Rodney, which is him right here. The plan was for Tori to walk home with her brother Darren because it was her first time walking to their new home. They had just moved in there a week prior, like I just said. Darren had walked a couple younger kids home that lived next to the school and returned to the school, but couldn't find Tori. He assumed she walked home by herself, but when he got home, he discovered she wasn't there. He went back out on his bike to look for her and could not find her. Pause for 1 second. Okay. Had to tell hubby goodnight. Where was I? Oh yeah, he went back out on his bike, but he couldn't find her. Okay. Tara, Tori's mother, called some of her friends, but she wasn't at any of their homes. Tori was reported missing to the police at 6:04 p.m. that evening by her grandmother. A large number of people came together to help search for Tori, but a surveillance footage gave the police their first real insight as of what happened to Tori. Let me check the chat real quick. Things awful quiet tonight. I don't like this.
No, I don't want to jump ahead.
Okay.
No, and yeah, I'm watching the.
Good night, Christy's hubby.
Yes, they all want him to go to bed.
Yeah, he gets up really early to go to work, so.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
All right. Let's see. This is surveillance footage that they got from a high school across the street. Mm-hmm. This up here in the small box, it's enhanced. It's a woman walking with Tori.
Yes.
There's kind of a little. They're blurry, but you can kind of see.
Yes.
This is Tori here. In the small box at the bottom. They're up here in the top left here. Okay. She was seen walking down the street with an unknown woman at 3:32 p.m. Police received a number of tips about who the woman was. She was arrested on an unrelated warrant on April 12, 2009. She was 18-year-old Terry Lynn McClintock. She denied having anything to do with Tori's appearance, but over a month later, she told police she knew what happened to her. She told police she was outside the school that day with her boyfriend, Michael Rafferty, which is him. She said that Tori was dead and that Michael raped and killed her. Michael was arrested. Tori was already Terry Lynn was already
May I bring up his age?
28, I think he was.
Yes. And the girlfriend was 18.
18, yeah. Yep. Yeah, remember, Terry was already in custody on an unrelated warrant. She was a bad person. She just got in trouble all her life. We'll go into that too. Mm-hmm. But then they arrested Michael after that. So now we're going to go into the history of who these people are, like Terry, and then we'll get back into the facts of the case.
What happened? Yes.
Okay, so McClintock, which is Terry, was born to a stripper in Woodstock. At birth, her mother handed her over to Carol McClintock, which is on the screen now. She was a stripper.
Holy shit! Well, yeah. It was in Ontario. I don't know what they like there, but
yeah. Carol became her mother, and in the next few years, the two lived all over Ontario, moving every couple of years. They lived in Guelph, Guelph, is that how it's pronounced? Guelph? Yes. Hamilton, North Bay, Parry Sound, and Muskoka. The moves meant McClintock attended many schools. Her attendance was always a problem. At school, she said she was bullied because she was the stripper's daughter. When she was about 7 and living in Guelph, Children's Aid began what became a long-running interest. I'm assuming children's aid is like CPS over here in the United States.
Yes.
Okay. It's not clear where McClintock was when she started doing drugs, but she was about 8 years old, the same age as Tori when she was abducted and killed. McClintock started with weed, slowly graduating to harder drugs. From then until 18, she was a serious drug user. So starting at 8 years old using drugs. She spent her childhood at 2 foster homes and her teenage years at detention homes. From the age of 12 to 17, she had been in and out for numerous misdemeanors such as fighting and was convicted of assault at least 6 times. Even in youth detention, she was always in trouble. She wrote long, lurid letters and diary entries in which she threatened those who had wronged her, venting about slaughtering someone and ripping out each bone. She signed those letters "Murderous Bitches," a sign-off she liked for herself and a friend. Such a lovely young woman she was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one saw that coming.
No, not at all. Life wasn't any better outside the juvenile homes. In 2006, when she was 16, she got into a fight with her mother, punching her and almost causing her to go blind in one eye. That's the picture of her mother's black eye. But in May 2009, Carol reports that her daughter had come home a few months before as a changed person, saying they were closer than ever before. She also said her daughter had been molested when she was about 4 or 5, and Carol stopped it as soon as she found out. So she also had a history of sexual assault in her life.
Mm-hmm.
Sometime in 2008, the mother and daughter moved to a dilapidated 2-bedroom house in Woodstock, which is in Ontario.
Yes.
McClintock didn't have any friends, but gradually came to know drug dealers in the town. She had friends. She had drug dealer friends.
Yes. They're good friends.
Yeah.
They'll always be there for you.
Exactly. They'll always be there. In early 2009, in the months leading up to Tori's abduction and murder, McClintock was taking antidepressants, popping Oxycontin, and ecstasy pills regularly, injecting morphine and smoking weed. No drug left undone.
Mm-hmm.
The lone positive influence in her life was her godmother. It was her godmother that she admitted to from prison that as a child, this is horrible, guys, she microwaved a tiny family dog. At the time, she claimed the dog had been attacked by another animal and the dog had to be put down. Animal torture by young people is considered by forensic psychiatrists as a harbinger of adult psychopathic behavior. Then in February 2009, she met Rafferty and fell in love. Oh, how sweet. Ian's typing away over there. What are you typing?
I'm just
Oh, you're in the chat. Okay.
Yes.
I look at the chat.
I do what Claire does so much better than I do.
Oh yeah, Gareth. It's wait till you hear the details of the actual crime. It's bad. But excuse me, as I hack in everyone's ear. All right, let's talk about Michael Rafferty. Handsome young man. As a child, Rafferty spent some years with an aunt and uncle in Drayton, a village about 50 kilometers, which I don't know how many that is in miles, northwest of Gulf. He was in his teens when he moved away and attended Richmond Hills Alexander Mackenzie High School. God, say that really fast. From September 95 to March of 96. He lived near Queen Street West in Toronto and partied hard, according to his friends, who often saw him at bars with women. A friend remembers he was unemployed but managed to always dress in the latest fashion. Sometime between 2002 and 2003, he moved to Gulf. For a few months in the summer of 2003, he worked for an outdoor service, a landscaping and snow removal company.
Mhm.
He then worked for a meatpacking plant in the city. Around that time, he met someone named Jennifer Wilstra. She was an inspiring veterinarian, and the two dated and lived together until September 2005. Wilstra was a prolific diary keeper. She chronicled their relationship online, its ups and downs, their struggles with finances and jobs that weren't perfect. Their relationship, by all accounts, was like any other young couple's. On Valentine's weekend in 2005, she wrote in her diary that Rafferty surprised her with a trip to Toronto where they stayed at the Sheraton, went to the Mamma Mia stage show, and partied. But all this while, Rafferty was cheating on her. 4 months after Wilstra and Rafferty broke up, he used the file-sharing service LimeWire. I remember LimeWire. That's an old one.
Yes, the beginnings.
To download child porn. In 2006, court documents show that Rafferty ran online queries like pain medication for genital herpes, severe genital herpes, and images of people with genital herpes. In an email to a friend a few days later, he indicated he had chickenpox. He lied.
Well, listen.
Right. Rafferty still lived in Gulf after breaking up with Wilstra, was active in the online dating website Plenty of Fish, attended speed dating events, and even registered on a Christian dating website. He was a real ladies' man, apparently a big con artist, and he would use these women for their money and sex and whatever else he could. In March of 2008, Rafferty moved to Woodstock to live with his mother, Deborah Murphy. Her then boyfriend, David Riddle, and their 4 cats in a quiet neighborhood in the south end of town. Riddle moved out in April of 2009, a month before Rafferty was arrested. He later told reporters he was tired of Rafferty sponging off his mother. So he even did it to his mom.
Mm-hmm.
In the spring of 2009, he met and went out with more than a dozen women.
I have to give it to him. I mean,
right.
Yeah, but when you see how the strippers looked, who knows what kind of women those were.
And then there was McClintock, who he met at a New Orleans pizza outlet in February 2009. She believed he was her boyfriend. Between January 25th and April the 7th of 2009, Rafferty downloaded child porn on his laptop. The next day, 8-year-old Tori disappeared. All right. Based on a sketch of an area provided to the police by Terry Lynn, they went to a rural area just southeast of Mount Forest, Ontario, about 60 miles from Terry's home. Pulling up the picture.
Yes.
There they found her remains under rocks beneath an evergreen tree. The remains were so badly decomposed they had to identify them by dental records. She was found 103 days after she was reported missing. That's a huge pile of rocks.
Mm-hmm. No, what those two did, they were very dedicated.
Yeah.
In committing this crime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to get into the details because that's part of the next part we're getting into here. On May 20th, 2009, police charged Michael Thomas Rafferty, 28, with first-degree murder and Terry Lynn McClintock, 18, with being an accessory to murder, in addition to lesser charges, in the abduction and suspected murder of Tori. On May 28, 2009, McClintock's charges were altered to a first-degree murder charge and an unlawful confinement charge, and it was announced that the accused would be tried separately. So they were having separate trials. Now, Terry Lynn agreed to testify at Michael's trial. This is where it gets hairy. This is the trigger part of the stream. Um,
I have to admit that would not be possible in the States.
no. I want to take a second to look over the chat and see if anything's happening. Nothing's happening. Yep. All right, are you guys ready for this? Because this is where it gets bad. And here's their arrest pictures, by the way. Let's them two together. And there's her. And there's his coward ass. He had to cover his whole head up.
Well,
Mm-hmm. All right. Deep breath here. Here we go. You can tell I'm dreading this part.
oh, me too.
Yeah, this is. Hold on, I got a cough. All right. Terry testified. Oh,
Well, it might as well have been because
testified at Michael's trial. She said that Michael told her to take a girl that day. He said to take a young female because the younger they are, the easier they are to manipulate. Terry testified. God, I can't say that word for some reason.
And you know what? And rightfully so. It's so heinous.
My nerves are shot with this part, I'm telling you.
Yes.
This is why I don't
Shout
like
out
doing
to
these kind of cases.
Barbara showed up. Shout out
Hey,
to Barbara.
How you doing, Barb? She has a wrench, right? Yeah, she does. Okay. All right. Barbara comes in right when the triggering part starts.
Barbara knows when it's important.
All right. Terry testified that they parked in a parking lot of a retirement home across from the high school. She claimed that her plan was to pretend to try and take a girl, but tell Michael that she couldn't. But when she walked towards the school that day, she knew Michael was watching, so she decided to approach a child who was on her own and walk and talk with her. She stated that she talked to Tori about a dog and asked if she wanted to come see it. She told Tori it was a Shih Tzu, and Tori had a Shih Tzu of her own, so was excited to see it. I want to stop right there for a second. It doesn't mention in here that Terry and Tori's mother, they were acquainted in a way. They kind of Tori's mother, too many T's.
Mm-hmm.
Tori's mother, what's her name? Tara, was addicted to Oxycontin.
Yes.
Terry was addicted to Oxycontin. And apparently Tara had gone to Terry's before to buy Oxycontin and also to talk about the dogs.
Mm-hmm.
My question...
So she knew. Yeah.
Yeah, my question is, do you think she knew all along?
Absolutely.
Who this is, and she could get her by talking about the dog because she knew she had this kind of dog?
Absolutely.
I thought that too.
And then, but if she admits that, then it's actually in a sense premeditated. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
And that was the only reason why she went with her. I mean, she was an open-minded young girl.
Yeah.
Like everybody loved her, but she wouldn't just go with anyone or anybody. No,
especially knowing she was supposed to be waiting for Darren. So
yes.
All right. Terry Lynn walked with Tori to Michael's car, and when they reached it, she pushed her in. Michael was shouting at Terry Lynn to hurry up. Tori was laying in the back floorboard, and Terry Lynn covered her up with Michael's coat. She claimed she was unaware of what Michael had planned to do that day. When she was in the car with Tori, she spoke to her on their 2-hour journey. She learned that her favorite color was purple and that she loved Halloween because she liked dressing up. After they abducted Tori, they made several stops on the way to the rural location where her remains were found. They stopped off at a Home Depot which I have that here.
Mm-hmm.
There's surveillance camera with her. That's her leaving Home Depot. This is one of her at the registers of Home Depot.
Buying a claw hammer.
Yep, a hammer and garbage bags.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that was further down. You jumped ahead. Knew you would eventually, but
No, didn't she buy the claw hammer at that? I thought it was at that place.
Mhm.
Okay.
She did. But I mentioned it later.
Oh, my bad.
That's okay. Their car was seen pulling in the parking lot at 5 p.m. Michael went to the ATM machine and then drove closer to the store. Terry Lynn went inside and purchased garbage bags and a hammer. They drove to the rural location. Terry Lynn said when they got there, she walked away from the car because she knew what was about to happen to Tori. Terry Lynn says she took Tori to the washroom and told her she was a strong girl. Tori pleaded with her not to leave her, but Terry Lynn took her back to Michael. Terry Lynn testified that Michael picked her back up, and Tori still had a hold of her hand. She didn't want to let go and asked her to stay with her. Terry Lynn got into the front seat and tried to hold on to Tori's hand, but she couldn't. She said she couldn't be there for that. This is hard, guys.
It is.
That's the car, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Michael violently sexually assaulted and raped Tori in the back seat. Terry Lynn said she walked away from the car but could still hear Tori screaming. She returned to the car and said that the screams caused her to have a flashback of her own traumatic childhood.
Now, all of a sudden.
Right.
Jesus.
After Michael raped Tori, he threw her on the ground outside the car. Terry Lynn walked towards Tori and kicked her. A plastic bag was placed over her head, and Terry Lynn hit her over the head several times with the hammer she purchased from Home Depot. They put Tori's body in garbage bags and put her under the rocks by the tree. When her remains were found, the butterfly earrings and Hannah Montana shirt she was wearing were in the bag with her. The autopsy revealed that Tori died from at least 4 hammer blows to her head. 16 of her ribs were broken, and her liver was damaged while she was still alive. There was blunt force trauma injuries to her body, which had lacerated her liver, and those injuries alone could have been fatal.
Mhm.
The remains were so badly decomposed that it could not be determined whether a sexual assault had taken place. Based on the totality of the evidence provided, it was established that she had been raped, beaten, and bludgeoned to death. Oh, that was hard to get through.
Mhm.
I'm not done yet with that
No.
part. I'm done, but
Well, yeah.
wow. Let me take a couple deep breaths and look at the chat real quick. It is a horror story, Mark. Saying hi to Barbara. What's this? Oh no, sorry to hear, Barbara.
Oh,
Oh,
she's getting better soon.
yeah. Keep her in our prayers. Okay. Didn't miss anything else. Yeah. These people are not human. And yeah, Barbara, I get it. You should have seen me when I was trying to research this. I'm telling you, it was horrible.
Yeah.
I'm still shook up by it. It's bad. Now we're gonna get to Michael's side of the story. That was Terry's testimony at Michael's trial. Now let's see what Michael had to say. All All right. Michael claims he did not know what was going to happen when Terry Lynn brought Tori over to his car. He said the abduction and the murder was all her idea, and she was the one that purchased the items from the Home Depot. He claims that Terry Lynn told him she took Tori for a drug debt and told him he could do something sexual to her. He said no, and Terry Lynn asked him to drive to a rural area. I'm going to stop for a second because the drug debt part, I believe that part.
Actually, me too.
I totally believe they knew this child from the Oxycontin addiction with Tori's mother and her.
Amen.
I believe there is a correlation there.
Yes.
I don't believe that he didn't have anything to do with it, but I do believe that part of the story that she said it was a drug debt.
Yes.
All right, when they got there, Terry Lynn said that Tori was afraid of him and asked him to walk away from the car. Terry Lynn then murdered Tori. He said he did not rape her and was not involved in the murder, but admitted that he helped clean up. Yeah.
That doesn't make sense either, though. But, like he had a problem with, molestation of children. Like, if you download it all your life, so then you have that, you come to that situation and all of a sudden, oh, no, I didn't plan that.
Right. Yeah, the only part of his story, like I said, that I buy was Terry telling him that Tori was for the drug debt. That's the only part that I buy.
Yes.
Everything else I don't buy. I believe it was all him. He's the one who had the sick addiction to little kids and put Terry Lynn up to getting Tori.
Agree. Yep. 100%.
But they're both guilty as hell. So
no, absolutely.
Yeah, Terry Lynn pled guilty to first-degree murder. She was sentenced to life in prison.
Yeah, but
Michael,
20 years probation. Like they can have. It's just or 25 years, I believe. 25.
I think it's 25. Yeah.
Yes.
It's 25 for him. Michael was charged with kidnapping, sexual assault, first-degree murder, which he pled not guilty. On May 11th, 2012, at 9:18 p.m., which you don't hear about that in the United States either. The jury doesn't. They go home at 5 o'clock. The jury, they found him guilty on all charges. 4 days later, he was sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole for 25 years. Same as her. Now, this part, Terry was later transferred to a healing lodge. The lodge allowed for a more independent type of living, and this caused an outrage through Canada. No doubt.
Well, that's because it's actually run by the natives. And I don't know how she got in there. Did she claim she has native background?
I'm not sure, but I know I remember reading something about it was a religious type thing.
Yes.
But it would essentially lead to Terry Lynn serving out her sentence in a less harsh and confined manner than she would in prison.
It's a camp, a summer camp, with a lake, and it's out in the woods, nice houses.
No doubt. Public Safety Minister Ralph Goodale intervened after the decision was made and ordered the Commissioner of Correctional Service Canada to review the transfer and how it happened. As a result, Terry Lynn was transferred back to prison.
Yeah.
And that's her going back to prison. Originally, she sought compensation for her unfair treatment when she was transferred back. That matter was later dropped.
They drove too fast when they put her back into jail.
Yeah, she said it was an unfair treatment, she said.
Probably didn't stop at the drive-through.
Yeah. This, like I said, was a very tough one to get through, and that's why it's kind of shorter than the rest of them, because I couldn't do any more on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No. And there are a couple of things that came in that actually have changed some laws in all of Canada, and that's the thing. I'm not sure. Are you there yet? About the Amber Alert.
No, go ahead. I'm done. Do what
The
you need to
thing.
do now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because the grandmother immediately wanted an Amber Alert, and the police said no because no one saw her being abducted. Even though I think that what's on the camera, that's enough for me that she was abducted. She went with someone no one knew at the time. And what was so telling is that they actually drove around for hours. As you said, they went from one Home Depot to the other, and
Yeah.
they stopped several times. And at one point, she said, we were listening to the radio if there's an Amber Alert. And if there was an Amber Alert, I believe they would have dumped her, without doing anything to her. And that was something. I send you where I found that.
No, you don't have to send it to me. I believe you.
Yeah. So they were actually waiting for an Amber Alert, and because there was no Amber Alert, they went ahead. Hours later. So that actually changed the law in how quick an Amber Alert is now issued within Canada.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, shit like this had to happen.
Yeah.
It's just.
I mean, that's how it always happens. Something has to happen before laws get put into place or changed.
Yeah, but even child abductors actually, fear Amber Alerts. But the police doesn't want to put one out because they're not sure yet if she was abducted. She's missing for hours.
She's an 8-year-old child.
Yes, in a neighborhood where everyone knows everybody. It's just. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and a couple of the press conferences that the parents did, they actually fought in front of the cameras. I was like, guys.
Oh yeah, totally.
Don't do that. Yeah, because they were separated, so they obviously didn't get along to begin with, and
at the end, what did you expect? One on Oxy, and he probably knew it. And okay, I don't want to be the asshole here, but if I have a wife that is on Oxy, she's not having my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So he can shut up too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched that one and I was like, are they really fighting in front of the cameras here? Are they doing this? Yeah,
she said, just because I'm not crying, I heard there were parents crying over the daughter and they actually killed her. And then he said, well, I was crying earlier. Are you saying I killed our daughter? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's what it was about. You're right. Yeah.
They shouldn't have children ever.
Right.
None of them.
Yeah, the press was asking her those questions like, why aren't you upset? You're out here doing all these, these interviews and you're never crying. And yeah. And he kind of looked at her like, yeah, I'd like to know that answer too.
So no, I did it?
Right.
Oh,
and then when the story about her coming up with, about the drugs and stuff, she said that she hasn't done drugs since she was in high school. And then later it came out. Yeah, later it came out that she did have an addiction. So, yeah.
You know what? With the whole Oxy thing, there's people, because many that become at the end addicted to heroin is because they actually had a prescription of Oxys for a certain accident they had or pain relief. They believe that they're actually not really drug addicts because it happened because they had an injury or it was prescribed in the beginning. They say, oh, I'm not a real junkie. It just, had a rough time. I have a hard time getting off.
I remember all the hype about the Oxycontin and gosh, I don't even remember what year it was, 2007, something like that, I think. I had ankle surgery. And they gave me Oxycontin, and I wouldn't even take it. I was so afraid that I was going to get addicted. I was like, nope, don't want it. Nope.
Yes. No, but it's the weirdest thing. The Oxy issue, and it's about 25 to 30 years now, and it killed a lot of people.
I'm just glad I wouldn't take it. I was like, no, I'm not taking that.
Yeah, I was never a downer either.
Yeah.
only upper.
Yeah. Is that what
Yeah,
Oxycontin is, a downer? Is that what that is?
it's a downer.
What about like Percocets and stuff like that? Is that downers?
That's all downers, yes. Now, but here's the thing: it doesn't really attack the same spots in the brain. For example, uh, alcohol is a downer, but it hits the same spot in the brain that cocaine does as an upper.
Hmm.
That's when an alcoholic is actually rather a cocaine addict than an alcoholic being a heroin addict. Like, I don't know an alcoholic who's a heroin addict.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, it's not the same. There are different dynamics to it. At the end of the day, though, you do anything and everything to hit that spot in your brain you want to, get the high of.
Right.
And then it doesn't matter if it's up or down. It's as destructive, it's as, life
Hmm.
changing. And then that's when you lose children like that. And then, I mean, that young woman, the 18-year-old, what was her name again?
Terry Lynn McClintock?
Yes, who abducted her. Of course, she had a rough upbringing. She was sexually molested. But you know how many children grow up like this and they're fine citizens and they are good parents? It can't be a excuse of what you do to someone else later in life.
Yeah.
It's just, no, yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah. I don't get it either.
But at the end of the day, you have to learn, make the best out of it.
Hmm.
That's why every Amber Alert, I always
I
post
know.
it in
You're always
Discord.
posting it, yeah.
It do something,
Yeah.
you makes you feel better about yourself that you're helping.
Hey, whatever works.
Yeah,
So
yeah, but this was a tough case,
it really was. So
and only in Canada, something like this. That's,
yeah.
like I'm not saying everyone should be shot on the spot, but a death penalty for certain things, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, because Canada doesn't have a death penalty.
No,
Yeah, I read that too. It said that they don't have the death penalty, so they only get life. But they should have got life with no parole, and they got life with possibility of parole.
Hmm.
Tori will never have life again.
I
You know
hope
what I
so.
mean? No,
Yeah, but
Tori
yet
won't. Tori's
three
dead.
oh no, yes, Tori's dead. Yes, yeah.
So why is it that these animals will get a chance at life again? They shouldn't. Period.
3 squares a day,
Yeah, and his mother,
yard time.
he conned his mother so much while he was in prison, stressing her out about money and stuff like that to give him money and stuff.
Hmm.
She actually died. His mother's passed away,
Oh, the one.
and
Oh,
Rafferty's,
yes.
and his family, his brother and stuff, is blaming him for her death,
Oh, of
is
course. I
of
believe that.
him stressing her out. And she maintained that he was innocent through the whole thing. She told the reporters that there's no way he done that and he's innocent, and she believes him. And yeah.
See, this is why I love my mother. Because no matter what happens, it's always my fault, even if I'm not. That keeps me on my feet.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
Yeah. I guess that's typical of most moms, I should say.
yes. Well, you know what? And I said it before, I say it again. The dynamic between a father and a mother there is a difference in the dynamic. A father will die for his children, a mother will kill for her children. Like there's a little bit of like I would too if it
Hmm.
came to it, right?
Right.
But my wife would not even discuss it.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, that's the case. I don't see any other questions from the chat.
Thanks for the people that listen to us.
Yes. Thanks for the 5 that were
And
here. 6.
and tell people that it will be posted so you can re-listen anytime.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Replay. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't yet. And don't forget, every Friday evening at 10
Yes.
p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are
True
here
crime.
for another
True.
one.
Yes.
No drama,
True.
just
Yes,
true
no
crime.
trauma. Amen. And I will even less jump ahead in the future than I have before.
That's the only drama we get is when Ing jumps ahead.
That's right.
So
I changed my name to Jumping Again.
definitely fascinating, Mark. I'm working on another one, but it's a really old case, but I like the older ones.
Yes, they're all.
They don't, because they shouldn't be forgot about. You know what I mean?
Amen.
So, but this one is like 1980 old. So,
Well, listen.
Yeah, I was a freshman in high school then, but yeah, we'll see. Oh,
yes,
we'll see what happens, and I'll let you know, Ing. And,
yes, please let me know.
Anyway, so yeah,
that's it for today. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Appreciate.
Thank you for
Love you.
here.
Love the
Love
chat.
You too. And thanks everyone in the chat, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.